All right, so how to keep negative thoughts away. Don't offer a vibration that attracts them. How to keep negative thoughts away. Negative thoughts promote negative thoughts. Positive thoughts promote positive thoughts. How to keep negative thoughts away. Care about how I feel and reach for thoughts that feel good. How do I keep negative thoughts away? There's no exclusion. So the question is a bad question. It's how can I keep away from me this thing I'm focused on? How can I keep away from me this thing I'm calibrated to? You can't. The law of attraction doesn't say, oh, we'll make you the one exception in all of the universe. The way you keep negative thoughts away is by activating more and more positive thoughts until that's what feels the best to you. So that's what you do, by not reacting, but by acting. And that's what we mean by getting out ahead of it. If you tune into your inner being and you start receiving thoughts, we promise you they won't be negative thoughts. But if you don't tune into your inner being and you go out into the world, you could tune into anything that's loud around you. The squeaking wheel gets the attention, so to speak. We also want to say, and we don't want to start a habit of this because everybody will come with a message from someone who isn't here. And it's much better if we are talking to you directly. But negative thoughts are not your nature. It's something you've picked up along your physical trail by others who think it's cool or who do it a lot or whatever. Negative thoughts are not your nature. And that's why you're asking the question. Negative thoughts bother you, and well, they should. But there's something to be said for knowing what you don't want, because if you don't know what you don't want, you can't know what you do want. So how would you calibrate to a positive thought if you didn't know what a negative thought was? How could you calibrate to something that felt better if you didn't know something that felt worse? So don't be upset. This message is not about avoiding everything unwanted. This message is about recognizing what is wanted and what is unwanted and turning more and more of your attention toward what is wanted. We would never say, never have a negative thought or feeling. That'd be like saying, get in your car. Is he driving yet?
I'm actually teaching him. He has his permit.
That'd be like getting in the car, no gasoline, the gas gauge is on empty. Oh, but that's negative. Put a happy face sticker on it. That feels way better.
Okay. Like that analogy. Okay.
Yeah. In other words, the negative emotion is an indicator that something needs to be tended to. So negative thought and negative feeling is a good thing because it's directive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A belief is just a thought that you continue to think, and it got started somewhere and caught on, and because you believed it, it's your point of attraction. So you attracted things that support it, evidence of it, so then you believe it more. That's all it is.
And how do I undo those beliefs?
It's not undoing. Let's find a different word. If I don't want this, then I do want this. So in every moment that you are calibrated to something unwanted, you are creating something that you do want. So the question isn't how do I do that, because you're doing it without even knowing you're doing it. The question is, then how do I calibrate to what is wanted instead of what isn't wanted? And an obvious human answer would be stop calibrating to what isn't wanted. But the law of attraction and momentum won't let loose of you. So you got to get out ahead of it. How do you get out ahead of it? You got to put some space between the last time you thought that and now. You got to quiet your mind. You got to be nicer to yourself. You got to take a long hot bath. You got to go swim in the ocean. You got to put your feet in the bay. You got to be nice to yourself. You got to do something that feels good to you. You got to maybe seek out somebody that is a good feeling person. Maybe you got to meditate. You got to quiet your mind. You've got to do the work. You've got to use your emotions in the way they are meant to be used. Negative emotion means something's got to change, or it's just going to become more of this. So knowledge is helpful. Understanding that your emotions matter and that they are important and that they are full of good information. But you can't just all of a sudden, when you're tumbling down the ski slope, stop because somebody yelled stop, even if it was you. Stop. Momentum's going to carry you, and you've just got to make peace with that. It's okay. Where I am is okay. I'm doing just fine. I'm on track. I'm an eternal evolver. It will always be true. I will always be in a state of calibration. It's not wrong that I need to calibrate this. It's right. That'd be like a sculptor getting a big pile of clay and splatting it down and then saying, well, that didn't turn out right, and then feeling guilty about trying to shape it. Oh, I don't think I'm supposed to touch it. I don't think I'm supposed to shape it. Isn't it the way it was supposed to be? Shouldn't I have just got it right the first time? Oh, that's ugly. No, you want to get your hands in it. You want to form it to your ever-evolving ideas of how you want it to be. Where you are is beautiful. Where you are, no matter where it is, it's just right. It's just right. You have created something that you might prefer, but be nice to yourself or you're never going to look over there. There are people in our analogy that we offered about being on the train, and over there's the junkyard, and over there's the beautiful seacoast. And there are people who believe that it is their lot in life to only look over there. They just don't dare look over there. They've been convinced that this is where they're supposed to look. And we know that sounds extreme. Jerry used to tell the story many, many years before he met Esther. He was an entertainer, traveled city to city with different troops. And he remembers being in Phoenix, Arizona. And the places that they were over in this very, what in his now terminology he would call seedy parts of town. A lot of crime, a lot of all things unwanted, a lot of poverty, a lot of debris. It was the junkyard. And he was comfortable there. It's what he knew. It's what he'd been raised in. That's where he did his work. And then one night some friends said, let's go over to Scottsdale. That's the nice part of town. And he went along and he said he was so uncomfortable. He just wanted to lie on the floor of the car. He felt so out of place being over there because he was trained over here. And then years later, by the time Esther hooked up with him, now they're living in Scottsdale. And that part of town made them uncomfortable. In other words, you have these habits of thoughts, and some of them serve you and some of them don't. But if they don't feel good, they're not serving you. So what do? You don't do it all at once. You care about how you feel. That's the first order of business.